Module 23, Protecting Cells, Sheets and Workbooks. In Module 23, we'll be looking at protecting cells, protecting worksheets, protecting workbooks, attaching and viewing digital signatures, adjusting macro settings, some exercises and their solutions, and a final summary. So why protect cells, sheets and workbooks? Well, protecting cells, sheets and workbooks prevent others from altering, editing and in some cases seeing the data held within it. Digital signatures add security and integrity to a document and assures all who receive it of its authenticity. And altering the security settings of macros can help prevent potentially dangerous code from running. So let's get started. Although protecting cells and protecting worksheets are two parts of this module, they're really only one. You can't do one without the other. Let's say, for example, within our track and field spreadsheet, we wish to hide and lock the salary column and the salary total column. To do this, we select our range, right-click, and go to Format Cells. In the Protection tab here on the right, we have two options, Locked and Hidden. We can select both. If we have a locked cell, it means that the data held within it cannot be altered until it's selected to be unlocked at a later date. If we select Hidden, only the value held in the cell will be seen up in the formula bar here. If we have any formulas, the formulas will not be shown. We have no formulas in this particular set of data, so we'll leave it as it is. Underneath, we have locking cells or hiding formulas has no effect until you protect the worksheet, and we'll come to that in just a moment. So we'll go ahead and we'll lock this set of cells. Now we'll do the same thing with the salary total. If we look at the data held in the salary total, we don't have values. What we have is the formula, and this is where the hidden aspect of the Format Cells comes into play. Again, if we right-click and select Format Cells from the contextual menu, we can select Locked and Hidden. And once we're done, we click OK. No effects will take place from the cells we've just formatted until we go to the Review tab and select Protect Sheet. The Protect Sheet window opens, and the first thing it asks us is to password to unprotect the sheet. So in other words, we need to create a password. In this particular instance, I'll use let me in. The next aspect of the Protect Sheet window is what we allow users to do with this worksheet. So they can select lock cells and select unlock cells. But we can also prevent them from doing anything else within our data range. We'll leave things as they are. Once we select OK, we need to re-enter our password to proceed. And Excel warns us if we lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. So it is very important that you keep a note of whatever passwords you use. Once we're ready, we click OK. And our cells are now locked and protected. If we select on the salary cell and try to alter it, Excel warns us that the cell or chart you're trying to change is on a protected sheet. If we need to unprotect the sheet, we need to go back to the Review tab and select Unprotect Sheet up here. If we select on any one of the cells in the salary total, all we see is the value held within the cell, not the formula that makes it up. If we need to unprotect to make any changes, select Unprotect Sheet and enter the password. And our cells are now unlocked and unhidden. Remember, now that we've unprotected the worksheet, we must go back to the Protect Sheet option to reprotect it one more time before we close and save it. And once again, our sheet is protected. To protect a workbook, we go through the same steps we normally would to protect a worksheet. We start with the Review tab, and next to Protect Sheet we have Protect Workbook. Selecting this will open up the Protect Structure and Windows pop-up. It has two options, Structure and Windows. Essentially what this means is other users can't add or delete any of the sheets currently held within the spreadsheet, and again it asks us for a password. We'll use Let Me In one more time. It then asks us to re-enter the password. And again, it's always important to keep track of any passwords used. Once we're done, we click OK. If we try to add a sheet, we find that the New Sheet button is greyed out and can't be accessed. In the same terms, if we right-click on Sheet 1, Insert, Delete, Rename, Move or Copy, as well as some other options, are also greyed out and inaccessible. To remove the protection, once more go to Protect Workbook and type in the password to unprotect it. We can now add sheets, and our right-click menu opens up one more time. We can set up a signature in any document within Excel. First, select an empty cell, then go to the Insert tab. In the Text section, select Microsoft Office Signature Line, and the Signature Setup box opens with 4 options: the name of the signer, the title, their email address, and any instructions that are felt to be necessary. There's also 2 further options, which allow us to show the sign date or allow the signer to add comments in the sign dialog. The sign date is deemed to be quite important these days, as most digital signatures can be notarized, so it's always best to leave this box checked. We'll enter a fictional CFO by the name of John Smith. Once we're done, click OK, and a signature box appears beneath our document. This box can be moved to any location within the document that's deemed appropriate. Making sure we have the right security setting for macros can be quite important in Excel. We're not always aware of where our documents come from, and some macros embedded inside a workbook can be quite dangerous to run. To make sure we have the right settings for our macros, go to the Developer tab, and then in the Code section, click on Macro Security. The Trust Center window opens with its macro settings. There are 4. Disable all macros without notification, disable all macros with notification, disable all macros except digitally signed macros, or enable all macros, but this setting is not recommended as potentially dangerous code can run. The default setting for Excel is to disable all macros with notification. In other words, if we open up an Excel file and there's a macro embedded into it, Excel will inform us that there is a macro there. We can always then choose to check the code or make sure that where the file originated is safe. This is the default setting and shouldn't really be changed. Another security option is to define a password for the entire workbook. If we go to the File tab and click on the Protect Workbook button, we can encrypt with a password. Again, we'll use the simple Let Me In password. And again, we re-enter. And once we're done, we notice that this area for the Protect workbook has changed colour. So in future, when we go to open this file, a password will be required. As we can see, when we try to open up the file again, there is no data stored on the screen. Everything is now encrypted and stored behind this password window. If we enter our password, the file can be opened again. We can also see that our signature is still there at the bottom and needs to be signed. Password protecting a workbook is the highest level of security that can be offered to a file. But once we add a password to a workbook, it can't be removed. So always bear this in mind. For the first exercise, select the cells held under salary and lock the content. Next, select the cells under salary total and lock and hide the content here. When that's done, protect the worksheet with the password of let me in, lowercase, no space. Okay, so firstly we select the cells held under salary, right click and choose Format Cells from the contextual menu. In the Protection tab, select Locked and click OK. Next, select the cells held under Salary Total, right click, again Format Cells, and under the Protection tab, select Locked and Hidden. Then click OK. For these two changes to take effect, we need to lock our worksheet. To do this, we go to the Review tab and select Protect Sheet. We now need to create a password to protect the sheet. Let me in, lowercase, no space, and click OK. We re-enter the password, and our worksheet is now protected. We can see this because if we try to change any value held in the salary total, Excel informs us we can't. And we also know that our salary total details are locked and hidden because all we get is the value in the cell with no formula. And remember, we can always unprotect the sheet by typing in the password one more time. For the last exercise, protect the workbook with the password let me in, lowercase, no space. Okay, so to protect the workbook is incredibly straightforward. We go to the Review tab, go to Protect Workbook, and then we assign our password. Re-enter the password, and our workbook is now protected. So no further sheets can be added, nor can any sheets be deleted, inserted, or removed. To unprotect our workbook, click on Protect Workbook one more time and enter the password. And again, all our options are now available. So in summary, locking and hiding cells can prevent others from changing values or even viewing formulas. Keeping the correct macro settings can prevent incorrect, badly written, or malicious code from running in Excel. And finally, protecting worksheets and workbooks can ensure a high level of security and safety within spreadsheets. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next module.